consultancy uses, Headshift and I Think Public, a small research project included involving Westminster City Council, which said, okay, let's go and see what social workers do. None of these people are social workers, and see how social media might be applied. Can it bring something to the table in terms of child protection and safeguarding, one of the very tricky areas of our world where is perhaps the opposite to openness and transparency prevails. And what they did after they produced their findings, their interim findings, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, so it's very kind of fresh and new. And what they've done was look at what happens, and we've been talking about it in the last couple of days. You have these silos of data in these complex databases that social workers hate filling in, so don't seem to feel supported by the information that comes out. It doesn't feed their work. Now this is very ambitious, whether we'll ever get there I don't know. I'm quite a cynical kind of optimist. But the notion they came up with was that you could mash, you could do a kind of mashing a Web 2 application across the top of these things. So you could take from the various databases without having all the fields lined up, without having a massive kind of national project to develop a new database. You could pull data, and you could do it in such a way that actually fed the caseworkers and the service users' needs. So you might actually come out with, as you might well see on a social media site now, a tag cloud, for instance. I'll just point for you at the tag cloud here, which when you have an application which just pulls how often a word is used amongst a whole range of files and records, and those words that are used more frequently come up larger. So this set of records is just a mock-up. You'll see fathers, bruises, so you could instantly see as a social worker what the issues are that are coming out from hidden in the pages and pages and pages of data in the unfriendly database files. You'll also see that there's a married couple involved, they're holding hands, as opposed to an unmarried couple who aren't holding hands, and how many children. And again, from the holding hands symbol, perhaps whether they're birth siblings or step siblings or whatever. So the idea was they wanted to produce a front sheet, a cover if you like, which gave the worker very quickly the kind of information which may be helpful in their day-to-day work. And that actually is a very different approach to the approach which is about what we need to do is make sure that social workers record absolutely everything, because we need to monitor them, audit them, and all the rest of it. So it's trying to turn it on its head using the same information and make a tool that's helpful. They're now looking for the funding for the second phase, actually to try and hire something like this. I think they're going to we'll end up being croppers on this one, because I don't think they'll get permissions to use the data in the databases, and it brings up huge issues around usage and the cross-agency collaboration and privacy and all the ethical issues. But we need to start doing this. We need to start unpacking this and asking the questions. And one of the words is, information systems aren't helpful to social workers. They don't support their work. What can we do to make it better? And it's kind of a positive approach to that. And it's bringing new tools and new thinking and thinking from other areas into our world. And I think it should be very welcome. To counter that, we had a survey which my colleagues in the Institute for Research and Social Services in Scotland have recently done. And again, these findings only came out in May of local government and the use of social media in social services. And as you'll see, 80% of the respondents use social media and collaborative working tools. 66% of those experience problems in accessing the tools from work. 50% said sites were blocked by IT departments. I think this is unusual. 62% said the organisation's IT policies prevented access. 58% knew the process to get the site unblocked, but the energy required to actually get that to happen was not worth the trouble. 85% used it elsewhere, but from home. And 97% said they did it in their own time. So my conclusion from that is perhaps the same as their conclusions from that, is that they acknowledge that engaging with social media presents new challenges to the structure, working culture, staff management, and technical strategy for councils, and that there are risks. It goes on to say that not engaging in that risk presents a far greater risk. We don't actually start dealing with policy change to enable social workers to engage with these tools, which their service users and clients are engaging with as part of their day-to-day life, then we are disempowering the social workers, and the council is unable to actually carry out its duty. So we have to deal at the policy level with changing those policies. Not an easy task. Okay, part of the Scottish research, just to give you an example of some of the kind of qualitative comments, and it's negative and positive, it's the good and the bad. The need to use it increases my workload and forces or encourages me to spend many hours in front of a computer screen. Guilty. The pressure to use also increases my stress levels. Guilty. It's vital to mainstream the mindset as well as the technology and ensure that the best aspects of the web, open, collaborative, non-hierarchical, and thus ultimately democratic, are central to all our activities online and off. I think that's true globally, and I think in some parts of the world that's going to be harder to achieve than in other parts of the world. I think it's a challenge for all parts of the world. I love this one. I was aware of a viral campaign to increase interest in social work as a profession through Facebook. I attempted to subscribe at work, but it was blocked. And I was warned that my attempt to access it would be reported, and I would be disciplined. Facebook social work page. So the challenge for all councils is to move social media off their list of challenges and onto their list of opportunities. If they don't, they face moving into a changing world, under-equipped and under-resourced. If they do, though, they may find the solutions they seek are right under their nose. There's an opportunity and a challenge. Okay, just to focus it even more on the social work task. Again, this is from the Scottish research. As child protection coordinator, I've also had to make use of and access social media sites for purposes of investigative inquiry. The fact is that digital media and social media of varying types are increasingly used by children and young people for a variety of purposes. We learn about communication, we learn about interpersonal skills. How many of the schools represented here teach about communication skills using these media? Mine doesn't either. The generational gap in understanding patterns of use of and differentials in access to social media limits and restricts staff potential to identify and address issues of relevance. This gap means there's an increasing lack of professional insight to and understanding of the world of children and young people, and even us oldies who use it as well. How it operates, its opportunities and threats, and what to do when social media comprises an element of the process of investigation. And Diana Boyd, who's the Microsoft researcher who came to the seminar in Scotland, who's very much into street work and youth work. The most important thing we need are digital street workers. Okay? When I was in college students volunteered as street workers to help teens who are on the street to find resources and help. We need a program like this for digital streets. We need college-aged young adults to travel the digital world, looking out for teens who are in trouble and helping them seek help. We need online counsellors who can work with minors to address behavioural issues without forcing the minor to contend with parents or bureaucracy. We need online social workers that can connect with kids and help them understand their options. We're talking about a different world, and it's a different paradigm from the education and practice world we're currently in. I think we have, this is a stage, I think, originally it's going to be 45-minute workshops, so it's kind of quite truncated. If we talk about 4 stages of organisational change of engaged, established, accomplished, exemplary, we haven't started. We're not even engaged yet. And okay, my sort of challenge, if you like, for myself and for Rosita and the conference and for other, both practice and education, is we need to open this can of worms, we need to track them down. We need to look at the current curriculum emphasis where we're concerned with which keys to push and how to open a Word document and how to save it properly and whether there's a virus on the disk or not. Those things, we do the biros. We don't teach students how to use biros. It's not even about information literacy, which is about what information is authoritative, but that needs to be there as well as the library skills that they already get. What we need to start thinking about is virtual social work practice. What does it mean to social workers practice and to learn about social work practice if we include the digital in the gamut of life experiences, which now it is there. People are engaged with it. So in England we have reforms going on around practice and education, which opens up an opportunity to try and address this agenda. Whether we're going in there or not, I don't know. But we also need to build resources for educators and students and practitioners to have a hook to hang this stuff on. And so what I've begun to do with two colleagues, Kevin Harris, who does a lot of work on communities, digital communities, and with Tim Davis, who's 23 years old at the Internet Institute in Oxford doing his MS Masters and runs a youth online company and does brilliant work, is we started this wiki. It's only a start, and we want to start building up kind of case studies. We've heard several in the last couple of days of how this stuff's being used in practice and what are the implications of ethical use of that, what's the value of that, what's the implications, negative and positive of that, and build up case studies from around the world. So that resource can then be open to be around the world for all to use and to begin to address these questions. And let's unpack the worms together. The Earl's on there, but they'll also be on the website for the conference afterwards. And it looks like this, you can't read it, it's far too small. It needs making a lot of posture. It's just a beginning at the moment. But it's not closed, so the Earl will take you to there, and you can add. Anyone can be editor and add to it. If we start getting a lot of spam on there, we'll have to start controlling it. That's not the case at the moment. And really, it's about people, not about digital at all. And I have a Twitter feed for this Who's conference, for Who's stream this conference, because two people asked for it, but nobody else has come on it. So look, I'm an old lady. I've got a Twitter stream. You can do it too. I pick up an awful lot of information about social media, about open democracy, about local government, about news coming up through the Twitter streams in a way that it will take hours and hours to do in any other way. So it's kind of time to get a little bit more with it. And thanks for the time.
Thank you. We can have a few questions. John?
Jackie, I write, I'm quite agree you saying that we need to reform the curriculum and have virtual social work practice being taught. Two would be qualified to teach.
Well, that's why we need to together to start this process to help inform ourselves about how to teach it. The other thing I haven't had time to go into, because I think it's really an important one, but it was another topic if you like, is that in health we have a whole discipline of health informatics. And we have people who are bridges between computer science and health professions. We have been talking for the last 20 years about the need for social informatics. That's more about the kind of heavy-end information system stuff. It can include the social media stuff. And we have got people in Lancaster at the moment who have got some money from central government in England to do some seminars around their institute is about research in health informatics. What we're talking about is expanding that to include social work and social care, because we need to move this one forward. So there isn't anyone educated and qualified at the moment to teach that, but I think there are ways and ways we can actually inform ourselves and our educators and make sure that our students are going to get there anyway. We've got to keep up with them.
Yes. Time's running up. Dick, you have anything to announce before we close the session?
No, I think we can say that I think this was a successful CETA conference. We talked about in the past piggybacking on larger conferences, and I think from our experience here, with bringing in a lot of new people, that piggybacking on larger conferences, especially those that involve several organizations, work well for the CETA. So, and we try as an organization to be that bridge that Jackie and John are talking about between technology and human services, because that's a big bridge that needs to be gap that needs to be filled with some sort of bridge. So, thank everybody for attending, and
thanks for everybody for participating, and thanks for all the presenters. Thank you.